Well, the last undecided political race in the entire country is hitting yet another roadblock. Judge Jefferson Griffin has filed another appeal to overturn the results of the North Carolina Supreme Court race.
And 2 recounts show him losing to Allison Riggs by less than 800 votes. The WCNC Charlotte's Julie Kay has been following this for months.
Yeah, so Julie, we could still be months away from an answer here.
Yeah, this is another turn that keeps us from certifying the race. On Friday, a Wake County judge ruled in favor of Allison Riggs. Griffin appealing this to the State Court of Appeals yesterday, the court he's currently on. Now he has recused himself, but I spoke to voter rights experts who explained how this ongoing push could impact elections and voters going forward.
No end in sight for the state Supreme Court race, but the North Carolina Network for Fair, Safe, and Secure Elections is already looking ahead.
It affects trust level. There are already people who feel like their vote doesn't count. And we saw that 90 million people stayed home in this past election.
Former Charlotte Mayor Jennifer Roberts has been working to improve civic education. She's joined by Justice Bob Orr.
I think it potentially negatively impacts the public's perception of the impartiality and independence of the courts, because they're going to have to make a decision that will be viewed by one side or the other as political.
Both of them fighting for the same increase in election trust. But as a former state Supreme Court justice, Orr knows this race firsthand and still finds this case puzzling.
In some respects, it's been confusing for so-called legal experts.
2 recounts have shown incumbent Allison Riggs leading by 734 votes. Jefferson Griffin says more than 60,000 of those votes shouldn't have counted. The complaint only targets mail-in and early votes over what he says is incomplete registration. But others have found it was a database issue.
What's to prevent future elections, Democrats or Republicans, finding something, some loophole in the way that the registration worked, the way that election office worked, finding some loophole and going back and disqualifying you after the fact?
One race that could have implications far past the winner.
Well, conceivably, this could last for months.
Long before that's even decided.
Now, also on the Court of Appeals, 2 judges who donated to Griffin's campaign. Griffin's case will be heard by a 3-judge panel. No word yet on who or when, but those 2 judges haven't publicly recused themselves at this point.
And Julie, I felt like this has been stop and go, stop and go. So the question is, what's next for this?
Yeah, that's exactly what I asked Judge Bob Orr. If the state courts decide at any point that the vote should not be discounted, then that's that. Riggs will keep her seat. But if a state court decides some should be thrown out, Griffin doesn't automatically win. He would then have to go back to the Board of Elections, who would then pull the ballots and recount from there. So it would still keep going for a while.
Yeah, so it could be months, like you said.